Hi, it's Alicia Dunham's here, and we are starting the 7 principles of mindfulness and healing. Can everyone hear me okay at home? Let me know. Marianne says, are you there? Yes, we are here. We got started a couple minutes late just to make sure we accommodate everyone. Joseph says, yes, wonderful, Joseph. Thank you. So everyone is here. And what parts of the world are we calling in from today? Would love to share that in this space. Share that now. We are in Santa Monica at a live event where we're going to be practicing meditation and mindfulness, specifically how to ease disease in this. And what we're using for this event is hashtag healing cancer. So without further ado, we will get started. We're going to do introductions of who is in the room, and I'd be happy to introduce anyone who is online as well. Great. So with that, we will get started. So my name is Alicia Dunham, and I'm hosting Healing Cancer with Meditation. We're using the hashtag Healing Cancer. This is really an opportunity to introduce Dr. Jerome Freedman's work. And it really got started when I picked him up from the airport today because a dear friend of mine has stage 4 cancer. What type of cancer was it?
Esophageal.
Esophageal cancer. And young, 36 years old. And triathlete. I'm coaching him for the leadership program right now. And so you were able to coach him specifically on some things. You can talk about that more. I know we were talking about specifics in terms of his type of cancer. But what we're here to do is talk about the mindfulness when it comes to healing disease such as cancer. And so before we get started, we have a PowerPoint presentation. We want to introduce everyone who's in the room. Just say your name and what you do. Then we'll get started with Dr. Freedman's presentation. So we want to get started. Who would like to go? Who would like to jump in first? Okay. And we want to really articulate so everyone can hear and project.
Hi, everyone. My name's Sari. I'm a storyteller, writer, actress, director, trained in documentary filmmaking. Nice to be here. Thank you.
Great.
I'm Barry Hornick. I am an international dealer of drugs around the world, and now I am a published author. It will be out in 5 to 6 days.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
What is the book about? It's about, it would take too long to, it's about a Jewish kid who gets lost and winds up in Afghanistan in jail, and it's quite a life going through New York and all over the world.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Sounds great.
I love that. Al?
Yes, I'm a manufacturer of an impossible 4-minute per day exercise machine. But I've been manufacturing it for 25 years now, so there must be something to it.
Yes.
Otherwise, I would be done there. And we've sold about 6,500 of those machines.
And what is that machine called?
It's called a ROM machine, and it's disgustingly expensive.
Okay.
It costs nearly $15,000. And at that, it still seems to be the least expensive way to do exercise.
Wonderful. Wonderful. The ROM. Okay, great.
I'll take issue with that. But
Yeah. You may say, are you thinking meditation?
I'm thinking tennis.
Tennis. Oh, okay. Okay, who would like to go next?
Okay, I'm Diana Hardy. I know I'm here from Sinai. We were actresses and moms together in New York about 30 years ago. And I work and married to Barry Hornick, the author. And I also work in anti-drugs and high school model. And I've lost 2 of my dearest friends to cancer in the last 2 years. And I've just been devastated. So I'm really it seems so prevalent in our society. Yeah.
My name is Henry Vacate, and this is my sister Sonia. I'm a lawyer and an author, and I have known Jerome and his lovely wife Molly for a very, very long time. And I've been with them in the beginning stages when he was dealing with it, and was fascinated by it, just how calm and incredible his approach was. Remarkable.
Thank you for that.
Hello everyone, my name is Sarah Singer. I'm a travel author and photographer. And it's such a joyful surprise to kind of just walk by and hear about this idea of mindfulness and cancer. My mother is actually a cancer survivor. But as you may know, the daily kind of struggle of almost this again. So to know that there's something that's just as natural as what's mindfulness, as a form of healing is really encouraging. Something I'd like to share with her.
My name is Emmanuel Wills. I'm so fascinated by the topic. I'm on a mission to help Americans approach eating differently. I do that. My training is in naturopathy and holistic nutrition, so I use food on an everyday basis to help people with their diabetes and cancer, and arthritis, asthma, etc. I also help run a raw food restaurant that is in the Los Angeles area, and I am about to publish a book entitled Frameworks, Complete Cellular Regeneration through Superfoods, Minimal Exercise, and Nutrition.
Where's the restaurant?
It's called like heterogeneous. Something
Where is it?
Fourth and Pinker.
Oh, in Santa Monica?
and what is it called? It's called like heterogeneous.
So my name is Alicia Dunhams, and I'm founder of Best Learning Weekend, which is an online training where I support business owners write their book quickly so that they can establish credibility, attract more clients. Jerome is a colleague and a client of mine, supporting with the launch of his book. And I'm an executive coach and a facilitator as well. So thank you for being here. And without further ado, we have Dr. Jerome Freedman.
Thank you very much, except you skipped over Simon.
Oh, we have one signing.
Hi, I'm Simon Joseph, and I am an actress and a makeup artist and an artist. And recently I started following my heart and doing some artwork that I've had for many, many years, and I'm starting to find ways to commercialize it. I'm really excited about that. And I know Jerome because Mala and I, his wife, went to school together, and I was in 14, and we've been best friends ever since. And Jerome has been married to her for how many years?
Let's see, 81. So 34 years, coming on
And
35.
that's how long I know Jerome, and he is like my brother. I have to say, he's family, and I love him. And if I have any real deep problems and any spiritual solution, I can always come to him, and he's always there.
Unlike your brother, who's not always
You said, right?
Great. Well, thank you. So, Dr. Jerome Freedman, tell us a little bit about you and your book.
Okay, well, we'll start with the disclaimer that I'm not a medical doctor. And the story goes that my father had 3 sons who were all doctors, and none of us could write a prescription. So I had 3 brothers and 2 sisters growing up. Oh, they have somebody. Oh, no.
And we just want to make sure everyone turns their phones off. This would be a great time to do that.
Yeah. So my career was not in the health field. It was in the computer science field. And my career was slightly interrupted in 1997 when I first had bladder cancer. And I was offered the wonderful opportunity to have my bladder taken out and replaced by an artificial bladder of some kind. Excuse me. And I would have none of that. So I started investigating alternatives, and I found lots of different possibilities. In fact, we were blessed to have a friend who's a radiation oncologist at a leading San Francisco hospital, and she knew of a bladder-sparing protocol that William U. Shipley at Harvard University and Massachusetts General Hospital was implementing. I called the doctor, and he called me back, and the rest developed into my urologist, my family doctor, my oncologist, and my radiation oncologist. They all agreed that I could do this bladder-sparing protocol, it's called. And so that was a journey that lasted about a year and a half until I was free of cancer. And during that time, I really started thinking about how to give back to my community, but I had no clue what I was going to do. Then in 2003 and then again in 2010, I had some surface cancer in my bladder that was treated with an immune fighting, well, actually, it was my immune system that fought it, but it was immunotherapy called BCG, which is a bacteria, a tuberculosis bacteria that they instill directly in the bladder, and it causes an immune response, and that takes out the BCG, and it also takes out the cancer. So that worked in 2003 and 2010. So then last year, actually at the end of 2013, my doctor found something suspicious and he wanted to have me go under surgery again. He wanted to take out my bladder again. And once again, I said no. And in order to gain some more time to figure out what I could do, I agreed to having 4 rounds of chemotherapy, which I had in 97 as well, chemotherapy, radiation, and other kinds of transurethral surgeries. Anyway, I went in for this chemotherapy, and by the end of the second round of 4, my blood counts were high and my blood counts were low, and my creatinine was high, so I was unable to continue the chemotherapy. So my choice was to take out my bladder. That was my choice. But I didn't do it again. I had a really great doctor at UCSF, and he said he wanted to look inside to see what he saw. And the funny thing is, he didn't see anything. He wanted to buy a biopsy. So he said, well, I have to take some samples now. So he did another biopsy under surgery. And he didn't find any cancer in the wall of the bladder. There was only surface cancer left, and that was treated with BCG. And last August, the BCG completed, last October, I learned that I didn't have cancer. So the story doesn't end there, because this is a whole saga. Last June, I had some bleeding, and I had it checked out with the urologist, and he wanted to do a biopsy, a needle biopsy. So he did the needle biopsy, and the results of that just came through about 2 weeks ago. And he had 3 samples, one where the old cancer was, one where he saw something suspicious, and one in a random place. and all 3 samples were negative. And the way he sounded was like he was disappointed that it was, he was surprised. I'm sure he was surprised. I don't think he expected it to be clear. But so as of today, still free of cancer. And I have to tell you that these 7 principles that you see up there were my guiding light. So now that we've done the introductions, I want to do an invocation. And I'm going to invite the bell and invite you to sit up straight and take a comfortable position. And if you like, you can close your eyes. And it's perfectly all right to do that. And this invocation is something I've been using for the last 6 years, every Wednesday night at the Pine Street Clinic in San Anselmo. I've been teaching mindfulness and healing there all this time, and we have quite a nice following. So, when you hear the sound of the bell, just listen to the sound of the bell. Don't think about anything else but the sound of the bell. This life is the gift of the whole universe. The earth, the sky, and many generations. May we learn to live in mindfulness in order to enjoy the wonders of life. Normally in my class we would just continue to be quiet and sit for 30 minutes. But I'm not going to make you do that right now. I just want you to bring your attention into yourself. This is called withdrawing inward. Bring your attention to your head and face. Just feel your head and face. Now feel your neck and shoulders. The space is there for you. Now your upper arms and elbows. Your forearms and wrists. Your hands, fingers, and fingertips. Now take a deep breath and feel the breath in your upper body. Take another deep breath and feel your breath in your abdomen. Now become aware of your pelvis and your hips. Become aware of your thighs and your knees. Become aware of your calves and your ankles. Become aware of your feet and your toes. Now be aware of no other spaces but these spaces. Be aware of no other times but this time. Be here, be now, be here now. Open your eyes. How was that?
Yeah. Sounds was really vibrating.
Oh, wait, say that again, Sarah.
The sound of the sound is vibrating in my body.
This is just a momentary taste of what we're going to do tonight. This was just the introduction called Withdrawing Inward. And you'll see that we start all of our meditation sessions with withdrawing inward. Now, when I teach this in my class at the Pine Street Clinic, it's in a very spacious, beautiful clinic that is an old apothecary with lofty ceilings and Tibetan and Chinese and Eastern art all over the room. And when I invite people to withdraw themselves into themselves and become aware of the space that they're in, they have a difficult time occupying that whole space. This room is a little more compact, and I think you might be able to be present in this space a lot easier than at Pine Street, but I love being at Pine Street. It's the place where I spend every Wednesday evening. So does anybody have any questions? What's your name?
My name is Eva. I'm sorry I'm late.
That's okay.
I'd like to clear my road.
What?
That's an inside joke.
Oh, you're
So-
excited.
Yeah.
Ah, wonderful.
Or insider. So everyone at home is asking speak up a little bit. They really don't want to miss out on this, so we'll do that moving forward.
Yeah, this is a little problem because usually I get very soft doing the guided meditations, and and the essence of it is the softness. Just I will do my best. I was doing my best to keep it loud enough for them, and I will do my best to.
Suggestion, if you have headphones or earpiece, you can plug it in and then mic up. Sure.
That might be a good idea.
Headphones?
I do have that one.
I got it right here.
I have a pair of those too. They're pretty good. Oh, yeah.
Jerome, this space is good. It's used for AA meetings here.
Is it? Yeah.
So it is a good space.
So this is supposedly the oldest building in Santa Monica.
It's the oldest building in Santa Monica. And they haven't already torn it down yet.
I don't want to put the head.
Can you guys hear?
No.
Yeah, we're just doing that right now. There we go.
The mic.
Here? Is that?
Let's see. Let's use that. It's going to be better.
Okay.
Okay.
Here, we got it. Boom. There we go.
Okay. Okay, that might work. Does that work for you?
Does that work for you? Can you hear that more? You use your voice.
Is this better? Oh, yeah, it looks like it might be.
We'll see.
Okay.
We'll continue with this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so any questions about that little exercise of withdrawing inward? Okay, so now that we've done that, where's my little clicker? Let's see, that was the invocation, right. And then we get this is kind of like the schedule, why we are here. Oh no, this is why we are here. So I'm happy to be here. I'm really delighted you're all here, and I welcome you to this adventure that we're going to have. And I'm hoping that you will be inspired to take charge of your own healing experience and become your own advocate for healthcare. And that is number one priority, really, because that's the first entry point into the 7 principles of mindfulness and healing. And then,
You can stop here too.
yeah, right. So we're also going to do a lot of meditation at the beginning of the talk, because I want to get you to commit to yourself, not to me, that you will practice meditation for 9 minutes a day. And really, 9.
That's doable.
That should be doable for everybody, right?
That's super doable.
Anybody can do 9 minutes. Well, yeah, that's fine too. Yeah. And then the third thing is to share with you the 7 principles of mindfulness and healing, and how they worked for me and how they worked for my son and how they can work for you as well, and for people you care about and love. So this is kind of the schedule, and we've done the welcome, and the disclaimer is next, I think. There it is. Oh, I went past it. Oh. They're not synchronized.
Yeah, it's.
Oh, I got to go the other way.
There we go.
Okay, the
There we go.
disclaimer.
Disclaimer.
Okay, this is just to say I'm not a medical doctor and I'm not giving medical advice. And that's uh, required, I guess, to some extent. And I'm talking from my own personal experience and the experience I've had with people who've come to my class and the experience I've had with my son, which you'll learn about coming up shortly. And then the next slide is healing versus cure. So when you are confronting a terminal or even non-terminal illness, things can get very messy for you because you get confused. You don't know what's going on. You don't know how to manage it. So the point I'm trying to make is that through mindfulness and healing and the 7 principles, you can experience a healing even if there is no cure for what you have. And the reason for that is that a cure means you're finished with a disease altogether. And you may not ever be finished with it forever, like I wasn't finished with it. Even after 18 years, you'd think I'd be finished with it, but I'm not. So there's no cure there, but I am healed right now, and I will continue to be healed. So, and then some people who are not successful in healing and who are succumb to their disease, those people can also be healed but not cured. So they can go to their next stop on this path without blame and without feeling like they lived for no purpose at all. So the next slide, did you go too far? Okay. So one of the main things that was inspiring for me once the book was already written was I came across this book called Radical Remission by Kelly Turner, Dr. Kelly Turner, also a PhD. And she went around the world on a grant from the American Cancer Society and other funders. And she was able to interview healers and cancer patients. And her quest was to find out what the people who had what she called radical remissions, what they had in common. And basically, radical remission used to be called spontaneous remission. Andrew Weil writes about spontaneous remission. But in general, what she discovered was that the remissions are not spontaneous because the people are doing these factors that help them to beat their disease and to beat their cancer and come out in a good space. So she came out with 9 factors of radical remission. And these factors map into the 7 principles of mindfulness and healing. And I'm bringing this out because this is a person who I've been in contact with since I learned about her work. And she was kind enough to write this recommendation for my book. I think. No.
I'm just gonna put this right here.
Oh, okay.
There we go.
Well,
And the phone. There we go. Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay. How about right there?
okay,
Does that work?
I suppose.
Yes. But here it is right here, so you can read it from
Yeah, right. So you can read that out loud. Would you read it? Yeah, please.
Hey, Bob, do you want to read that?
Dr. Freedman speaks from experience, both as a cancer survivor himself and as a father of a radical remission cancer survivor. His book, Healing with 7 Principles of Mindfulness, gives readers a nurturing, helping hand throughout the entire cancer journey, especially with regard to developing a meditation practice. Kelly Turner, PhD, author of New York Times bestseller, Radical Remission, Surviving Cancer Against All Odds.
Now, to me, this was a real win to have this recommendation. So I think that gives some substantial basis for enjoying healing with the 7 principles of mindfulness. So the next thing is, what is mindfulness? This is a picture of a famous mindfulness teacher, John Kabat-Zinn. He was the founder of the mindfulness-based stress reduction program at the University of Massachusetts. I think it was 1979. This program is now in hospitals all over the world, and it's in medical centers, and people are teaching it even outside of medical centers. There must be 100 MBSR courses ongoing right now as we talk. They're just really popular. And he defines mindfulness. Would you read it again?
Yeah. Mindfulness means paying attention in a particular way, on purpose, in the present moment, and non-judgmentally, as if your life depends on it. John Kabat.
John Kabat-Zinn. So that picture of him was from the Mount Madonna Center in the Santa Cruz Mountains when he taught a retreat that Anderson Cooper attended, and it was on 60 Minutes. I think recently they had a replay of it. So the whole mindfulness movement is now very mainstream, and everybody is trying to learn how to do it. And I'm so glad you're here, and we can have some interesting discussions and practices. So now it should be a practice, right? Okay, so another way of looking at mindfulness is directed attention. And directed attention means putting your attention on a certain place without distraction and bringing it back to that place when you do get distracted. So what we're going to do is this kind of a practice. It's called in and out. And we'll start with the withdrawing inward. And again, I will invite the bell to get us started. I will tell us how to go inward. And we will have about 9 minutes of practice now. We're going to see what it's like to do about 9 minutes of practice. So get yourselves ready. Let's see if this works. I think it won't work. Start timer. Yeah, it didn't ring the bell, so I'll ring the bell. So watch that. I'll watch it. Never mind. I'll know. Okay, so. Oh, when I say relax, I want you to breathe in completely and deeply. When I say relax now, I want you to let go of your breath in a letting go sort of way, just all at once. Relax. Relax now. Relax. Relax now. Relax. Relax now. Now withdraw yourself into yourself and become aware of your body. Feel what it's like to be sitting in that chair in this room at this time. You might feel your feet on the floor, your thighs and buttocks on the chair itself, and perhaps your back is supported by the chair also. Be aware of no other spaces but these spaces. Be aware of no other times but these times. Be here, be now, be here now. Now bring your awareness to your breathing. You might be aware of the breathing in your belly, in your chest, or you might feel the air coming in and out of your nostrils. Just notice where you notice your breath. And if it changes during this exercise, allow it to change. When you're breathing in, know that you are breathing in. When you're breathing out, know that you are breathing out. Just recognize an in-breath as an in-breath, and recognize an out-breath as an out-breath. To help you do this, you might say to yourself as you're breathing in, I'm breathing in, or simply in. And you might say to yourself, as you're breathing out, I'm breathing out, or simply out. And follow your breath, breath by breath. In, out, in, out, in, out. If you get distracted from following your breath, just notice that you are distracted and bring your attention back to your breath. In, out, in, out, in, out. If you become aware of the sounds outside the room, just notice that you have been aware of the sounds outside the room, and bring your attention back to your breath. In, out. In a moment, I will invite the bell, and we will continue the presentation. You can open your eyes. So how was that?
Amazing.
Why did you stop it? Why would you stop that? That's awesome. Was that 9 minutes?
That was 9 minutes.
It did not feel like that. Your voice is amazing. Do you have recordings
Yes,
of that?
I do.
I need
Yeah.
a couple of those.
Yeah,
With the purchase of the book, don't you send meditation recordings
yeah,
out?
yeah,
So we'll get all those on this website.
yeah.
And use those with my LFC glasses. They send that LED frequency.
All right.
So I have those. I sell those. And I have Dr. Delgado does a script, Tony Robbins, a couple other people I need you.
You're welcome to.
Awesome.
Yeah. So Siri, you want to say something louder, please?
Like lots of energy in my hand and feet.
Can't hear you.
The more we were getting into it, the more my hands and feet started feeling activated, and just lots of light. So it just went like 1 second for me. I didn't realize it was 9 minutes.
That's good.
Repeat what she said, Sophia.
Oh, she said that her hands and feet were starting to tingle, and it didn't feel like 9 minutes. So, anybody else?
I was able to reach out to one of my departed gurus, or whatever you want to call it, looked at Ananda, and I saw him under the ceiling.
Wow.
He was looking at us with a big angelic smile. So, good guys.
Muktananda was one of my teachers.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
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 Very chill.
So you see ascended masters and stuff like that?
I see only what I see, not anything outside of me. No, I have. I will tell you a story a little later about an ascended master who gave me a very spiritual name that I have not really used at all in the last 40 years. And it's just too weird of a name to.
Well, now we want to know.
All right.
Now we want to know.
Well, it's actually part of the story. So it's a part of the story I don't normally tell, but it's part of the story. In 1969, I was a graduate student at the University of Chicago, and I was studying physics, and I was working on my second PhD because my first PhD at Washington University did not come to fruition. But neither did the one at the University of Chicago come to fruition. I had to get my PhD in computer science. So here I was at the University of Chicago, and I was introduced to Hinduism that I never knew much about. It's a really wonderful experience. And living in Chicago, I happened to be interested in yoga practice. I was studying with Swami Rama of the Himalayas, who had passed on, and so his also has his main disciple, Swami Veda Bharati. He has also passed on just within the last month. And the interesting thing was I went to this occult bookstore in Evanston, and it wasn't a yoga teacher. It was Father Eli. And he was teaching about the ancient wisdom traditions of the East and the West. And I got sucked in to his Southern drawl and his charming personality and his kindness. And he invited me to spend the summer, after several months of these classes, he invited me to spend several months with him in his retreat center in the Ozark Mountains in Arkansas. And so I did. And it was there that I learned how to teach people how to do these kinds of meditation and guided imagery experiences. Way back in 71, 72, 73, I went, I think I went 2 summers to the camp in the Arkansas mountains. So when my son got cancer in 1976, he was 7 years old, and he had a Wilms tumor, which is a kidney cancer that children can get. And this, in 71 or 76, they weren't curing many children with Wilms tumor. You take out the kidney, but he had already had metastases in his lungs. You give him radiation, you give him chemotherapy, and you pray for the best. Well, the day that Micah went into the hospital, I was supposed to go to Esalen with Gabrielle Roth, who was also one of my teachers. You probably know of her. It's Five Rhythms.
I just love it.
The Five Rhythms. You know the Five Rhythms?
I don't.
No. Anyway, she developed the Five Rhythms after I was a student of hers in 75, 76, and then she moved to New York. Anyway, I was supposed to go to Esalen to assist her with the dance workshop. And my ex-wife called and said Micah's in the hospital. So I had to cancel on Gabrielle. I rushed to the hospital. And when Micah got out of surgery and no one else was around, I would start teaching him how to do imagery, how to do creative visualization. For a 7-year-old child, we called this mind stories. And he started doing them after he was in the hospital for a whole month. And on my nights, my girlfriend at the time and I would do the mind stories with him. And then he got out of the hospital and we hired a wonderful psychologist who was also a trained engineer turned psychologist because he was a cancer survivor of lung cancer. And this person, Dr. Sheldon Ruderman, continued to work with Micah with the mind stories. And during that first year in 76, he was filmed by the crew of In Search Of. And Micah was on that episode of In Search Of, and I have a recording of it online. I was going to play it a little later. I'll just tell you about it now. And so what I learned was that Sheldon Ruderman was trained by the Simontons in Arizona. And I further learned that the Simontons were trained by Jose Silva, the Silva Mind Control, which I had done myself in about 72. And then I further learned that Jose Silva was taught by Father Eli. So the circle became complete, and I knew things were good. So anyway, back to your question. I was at the camp, and this was the first year, and I was doing, let's call it a mind story because that's a nice way of thinking of it. I was doing a mind story in my camper.
Is that a guided meditation?
Yeah, it's a guided meditation. And this angel comes to me and says, "You will be known as Theandrigal." And what the hell does that mean? Theandrigal. He told me how to spell it. Theandrigal. Theandrigal. Have you ever heard that before?
That's a good name.
Huh?
That's an awesome name.
Isn't that awesome?
That's an awesome name. Yeah, let's go get you tatted up.
So I asked Father Eli what he thought. And he said, well, I think you'd be happy teaching this material. Or if you go back to being a Jew, you could probably be happy doing that too. Because he said theandrigal to him meant, he was a very intuitive person, extremely gifted. He said it meant he who walks on 2 feet and serves God. So that was the message I got from that day many years ago. Of course, I also had some very deep meditation experiences in that van at that camp. They were just phenomenal. It was just a wonderful place to
How
be.
long did it take you in meditation to get to where you could see things like that?
Oh gosh, I can't answer that. For me, you see, there are certain stages on the path that we've all experienced. Everybody has experienced them. I'm pretty sure of it by now. When I was a kid, I thought I was the only one that had these kinds of experiences. But I'm pretty sure many people do have experiences in the moment. In this moment, I know is this moment, only this moment, just this particular moment. You're just totally present to whatever is going on in that moment, and something happens, and you're filled with energy of bliss. You're filled with the excitement of life. You're filled with a certainty that you're not just alone, not alone, but you're actually one with everything that is, one with the whole universe. You are at one with, if you call it God, you call it God. If you call it the creator of all that is, you call it that. I don't know what your vocabulary is, but it's that moment, those moments, what happened to me as a child. I'd be out in the yard and all of a sudden there it was. It came. I was present. Wasn't, I wasn't playing with the kids. I was not. I was just standing there in the autumn air in St. Louis, Missouri, and things like that would happen to me. I thought I was the only one that ever happened to. But I know that Henry has had experiences like that because we've talked about that.
Was Father Eli a Catholic priest or?
No, he was not a Catholic priest. He was a Druid. Yeah. And he was a genuine teacher. He was a great teacher. I've been very fortunate in my life to come across many great teachers. So, any other questions?
Yeah.
Yes.
For me, maybe it's too rude and ask, how old are you, Jerome?
You tell me what you think.
I was going to ask that.
What I think,
Yes.
I did the math.
what was the 7-year-old child in 1972?
1969 graduate school. I put him at 75.
You hit it right on the nose. Right on the nose.
69 was a good year.
Actually, I'll be 76 in exactly 2 weeks.
I would have guessed that too.
My birthday's tomorrow.
Yes, and I'm celebrating with her. That's one of the reasons I'm staying over. To celebrate with Simon.
64, wow. Looking good, girl.
She was a model in New York.
So,
I'm not quite 75. That's about 4 months short.
Ah, cool. So I think it's time for a little stretch. So I'm gonna teach you, how can I do this?
So you want to stretch?
I want to, this is hard for the people on the webinar.
Yeah, because they've been listening intently.
We are going to do a few minutes of walking meditation to get us off the seats. And we're going to do a few minutes of walking meditation to get us off our seats and be prepared for the next exercise. So this is a good time for you to take a break, get some coffee, get some water.
Well, they can walk as well.
Or you can walk as well, yes.
They see us on video, actually, so.
Okay. Okay.
Just describe to them what we're going to do.
Okay. So. Good. This is what I like. Laughs.
Is that part of meditation?
That's
Laughing?
very part of meditation. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, right.
Stage
It's
4?
true.
4. I mean, obviously they went to a plant-based diet.
Plant-based diet.
And a lot of happy movies and laughing, nothing negative, but literally food and happiness, and I'm sure she was meditating as well.
Yeah. That's wonderful. Yes.
Tom Hormel's wife.
Who?
Tom Hormel's wife, owner of Hormel Chilies and Lunch Meat, civilian.
Oh,
Hormel.
So she stopped.
No, she saved his life too, because she was like, you want to be with me? Like, you gotta cut all this out. So I used to be vegetarian, plant-based, like vegan actually.
Hi. Bach, are you plant-based?
Of course, I'm anti-aging specialist.
Okay.
Are you?
I went plant-based 4.5 months ago. I trained the #1 anti-aging doctor in the world.
Who's that?
Dr. Nick Delgado.
Delgado?
Delgado protocol. Doctor Nick, I think, he's in Orange County, Costa Rica. And I was literally testing people's hormones with their blood every day. I'm a kickboxer, like exercise freak. And, I'd have people who thought they were healthy come in thinking that something was going on in their body, but under the microscope and through the lab results, I'm like, that's not actually what's happening in your body. And after looking at so many people's uric acid to nitrogen levels be out of whack, I just couldn't eat meat anymore. I'm like, I'm committed to living past 150. If I'm not plant-based and meditating every day and doing yoga, then I'm not even trying. That'd be like me being like, oh, I'm committed to my health, but I eat cheeseburgers and never work out. So, from the science of it, science side, that's what finally gave it a last push to come over to the light side.
Wonderful. That's wonderful.
Are you plant-based as well?
I'm 90%.
Okay.
Yeah, because in Chicago again, in the 70s again, I went to a naturopath. How many naturopaths do you think there were in those days?
Yeah, two.
And her name was Dr. Kern, and she would do muscle testing, and she said, hey, buddy, go get yourself a burger. Believe it or not, we were on macrobiotics. And she said I needed to eat meat. She just could tell. So now I'm slowly weaning off of meat altogether. And seafood is also something, if I see food, I eat it. So But I love it, so that's a lot, that's harder for me to give up, but, mostly my lunches are avocado and pecan butter and almond butter and salad and no, well, the chocolate chip cookies come once in a while. My wife is famous for her chocolate chip cookies.
And she had them today, she told me, and she didn't send them off with you.
I have one for each of you.
You do?
Do you address diet in the book?
Yes, of course.
What are some of your tips on diet?
Well, the main, plant-based diet is one of them. And another tip is avoid sugar. It is what cancer feeds on.
So cancer feeds on sugar.
Right.
So
And
is that medically proven?
yes.
Cancer feeds on sugar?
Yes. What do you think a PET scan is?
A PET scan?
Yeah. Do you
I
know?
have no idea.
Do you know what a PET scan is?
It's really just sugar.
That's exactly right.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
Yeah. It's like an MRI or a CT scan, but it's a positive emission, positron emission tomography. And it's like one of those scans that they do, and they put sugar in your body, and the sugar goes right to the cancer.
So
That lights up. Where they see the sugar go, that's where they think the cancer is.
now,
How much is that?
Probably $5,500 or $10,000.
okay. So we talk about, Alpha and I have talked about this, how almost the world's population has candida. And so an inflamed body. So
Inflamed God. Yeah.
So inflammation is really, is that, I mean, I'm looking to you for this. Inflammation is kind of the precursor, an inflamed body.
Well, people are often inflamed. There's inflammation in a lot of tissue, and so what do they take? They take Advil, or ibuprofen or Tylenol. Well, Tylenol doesn't do much for inflammation, but they're going about it the wrong way. What they should do is get off sugar, and they should avoid soft drinks.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Of course, yeah.
Soft drinks are
Do they
are
even
the
sell
worst.
those anymore? Because in California, I mean, it's hard to get a soft drink. It's pretty much kombucha
Everywhere.
everywhere. I haven't had a soft drink in years.
Yeah, it's the worst, especially it's the worst, especially diet soft drinks. Do you know why?
I have a question, I know about sugar, but how about dark chocolate?
Lovely.
That's
I enjoy 85% chocolate. Yeah.
85% chocolate in your diet?
Well, no.
Diet of 85% chocolate.
No.
Sign me up.
Dark chocolate is 85%.
I'm down. I don't even have to lift the 150, I'll take 120.
Make sure that it's cacao.
Yeah, right.
Cacao.
Yeah,
That's what you want. It's the cacao bean.
all right.
So you want chocolate that has this like 80%, 85%,
Yeah.
90%. You go to some of these places, make sure it's cacao. It's not like
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
you want cacao is one of the
It's not
rare
a
superfoods on the planet, right? So it's the number one source of vitamins, the number one for antioxidants, number one for so many. Cacao, that's
Oh, Emmanuel, can you speak up?
Oh, so
Please,
Emmanuel, I'll just repeat it. Emmanuel is talking about 85%, 90% cacao chocolate.
Yeah, so the cacao bean, right? So the cacao bean is where cocoa is derived from, then through the process, and that's where we get like all the joys of crunch bars and all that. So we want to stay away from the processed ones. We want to stay as natural as possible. So the cacao bean, or cacao powder, or cacao butter, or there's the cacao chocolate bar, which is going to be 85 and up.
I don't think they have too many of the cacao, they're usually like $5 in a little tiny bar.
So here's what I do. Every day, I buy a $10 bag of cacao powder from Whole Foods. It gives you around 8 ounces, which lasts you anywhere from 35 to 45 days if you're making a shake once a day, which is a very long time for $10. And I make a super, what I call a superfood smoothie every day. I have 2 to 3 tablespoons of cacao powder.
Louder.
2 to 3 tablespoons.
We're gonna have to stand up and talk.
Yeah, 2 to 3.
You're gonna stand up, Emmanuel.
Well, start over.
Yes.
So,
What kind of cacao should you get?
so get the natural cacao powder, either the Sun Food or the Navitas brand. The 8 ounce is around $9.99. It'll last you anywhere from 35 to 45 days if you use it daily. What I do is I make a daily superfood smoothie where you take 2 or 3 tablespoons of cacao powder, mix that with 6 or 7 goji berries, 2 dates, 1 to 2 tablespoons of almond butter, 1.5 to 2 bananas, and then I make my own almond milk. So what I do with that is I take some either spring or distilled water, right? Pour in some almonds with it, blend it, and then strain it. Then I add what's called Alkazone Alkaline Booster, which is going to alkalize the water, right? And then I add a little bit of Celtic sea salt, which then puts it at like a pH of 9.0. You blend it all in, and that's how you make it. So.
Oh, wow.
So,
I love it. Good hugs happening. And sorry, and I know in your master shake that you make in the morning, you do have bananas. And sorry was had the question about fruit because there is fruit sugars. So when you say no to sugar, are you eating like greens, and is that it? Greens and beans?
No, fruit is a very big part of my diet, and I'll tell you why. Yep. There are several reasons why. First of all, there are 2 types of sugar, depending on how the molecule is oriented. And cane sugar goes, say, this way, and fruit sugar and honey go this way. And it's this one that feeds on cancer. Cancer doesn't know what to do with this sugar. It ignores it. And so when I learned, that was in a book, let's see if I can, called, I'll come to it later because I know the name of the book. I just forgot it for this moment. It's one of the books I refer to in my book anyway. So the sugar content from fructose is a different type of sugar. And so it doesn't have the same effect on cancer. This is what I learned from this book from the cancer diet. Yes.
Does it still increase inflammation in the body? Yeah, please.
Go ahead. Yes, please. Yes.
So there's 2 types of sugars. There are simple sugars and complex sugars. Complex sugars we get from candy and soft drinks and those sorts of things are sugars that we want to stay away from. Simple sugars that we get from fruits, mangoes, and those sorts of things. Those are good. So they pass through our blood through what's called simple diffusion. That's the process. So what's happening is that the nutrients and everything is passing through the cell without using any adenosine triphosphate or ATP. And so our bodies don't, the pancreas doesn't have to shoot out any insulin and, those sorts of things. So it's what we would call direct cellular, like dynamic energy. So it's good for us. The other complex sugar, that's what spikes everything up. That's where complications come from. So we want to stay away from complex sugars, but simple sugars is something that our body thrives on.
How about coconut sugar?
Coconut palm?
Yeah.
You're going to use that.
That's what I use.
Yeah, coconut palm sugar is great.
Word theory.
I have one more question.
Yes, please.
A lot of people told me different things, that's very confused. Is there a limit on how much fruit you can have? Like I'm sitting there eating fruit, pineapple, bananas, and
I know the answer to that.
Yes.
I love the raised hand. Like on me, you
So like he said, the fructose sugar is a different type of sugar. So if you're talking about cancer, it's not going to affect that. But if you're talking about fitness and health, you can literally be on a 90% fruit diet and 10% veggies, and you will lose body fat. You will continue to lose body fat. And you can have as much fruit as you want, get a little vegetables in there, but you can literally have 90% fruit. There's I can't remember the YouTube channel. She's amazing. And she talks about plant-based diets, and you could eat a lot of fruit. Like he already said that it's this kind of sugar.
Yeah, so
No.
what's happening actually, the reason why people suffer just from a naturopath perspective, the reason why people are suffering from weight issues and everything is what's called hypoactive or underactive adrenal gland and thyroid gland. So when we're working with weight or those sorts of things, what the fruit is actually doing, it's cleansing it and regenerating it at the same time. So the fruit is going to continue to regenerate those glands that are responsible for revving up your metabolism and revving up those glands, and that's really the root issue of this, and the weight just.
Well, where do you get your protein?
Oh my God! I will take it.
I'll let you
I'll let you have it.
I just wanted to. Okay. I will take this. I will take this. I will take this one. Okay, people. I'm an athlete and a former fighter and football player professionally, and so I used to be a lot bigger, but I switched to a plant-based diet. I have lost some weight, but I haven't lost any muscle. I've really just only lost body fat. Okay, think about this. The protein question obviously is the question I get every single day when I tell somebody I'm plant-based. Your body does not need the crazy amounts of protein that people talk about. It's insane. So I have fitness models and fitness personalities come and get their hormones tested because I start educating them, and so their nitric oxide to nitric their their body is their kidneys are freaking out because they're having too much protein in their body. The body doesn't need that much protein. Look at a gorilla. Look at a horse. Where do they get their protein from? They're pure muscle. Like your body only needs 6%. So they did a test. They had 22-year-old college students. 20 of them do a chicken and rice diet, and 20 of them do a just rice diet for 2 months. The group on just rice absorbed more protein than the group chicken and rice. It's all a lie. It's a myth. Like you're people who the meat and dairy industry propagated all that stuff, and they paid for our textbooks. So they told us the food pyramid and blah blah blah, and they had us believe that you increase your protein, it's going to go straight to your muscle. That's not true. The first responsibility of the body is to fuel the brain and then the organs. That's what you start off as, a brain, literally. And so your brain needs glucose and your organs need glucose. So it's a very inefficient process. If you're on a high protein diet, your body's got to tear that protein apart to turn it into glucose. So there's a 30% waste product, and that's what causes the inflammation in their body. That's what causes the higher acid. That's what causes the imbalanced pH. And so while carbohydrates, the only byproduct is water and carbon dioxide, which you exhale. So literally, like carbohydrate, bread, put it in your mouth, chew it, it turns into sugar in your mouth. It's an easy conversion process. It's basically a carbohydrate is basically sugar. So, or basically glucose rather, and it switches to glucose without any waste product, and that's why a, a complex carbohydrate diet like hay or bamboo and these type of things, those animals are able to be so muscular. It's a lie, and people might be fit on a high protein diet, but they're dehydrated because it takes 3 times the water to digest animal proteins than it does carbohydrates. So it's all a lie, and it's all miseducation purposefully. And so you got to break the matrix. Yeah. I use Dr. Delgado's vegan superfood protein. Those who I know.
So, yeah, I can make it. So I'm 90% raw vegan. And so my main protein sources are whey, spirulina. Spirulina is a blue green algae. Does everybody know about spirulina? Everybody?
No.
Okay, so highest protein concentration on the planet is 60 to 70 percent protein. It has 200 times more protein per acre than beef. Spirulina, right? So that's amazing. And then I get
And how do you eat it?
Smoothie.
Okay.
Yeah, and then also the hemp seed and the
Is it sweet?
I put that hemp seed in, and also, chia seeds in my shake, but I'm using Vega,
Kelp or something.
Yeah.
and I don't think it's so good. I think there's
One of those protein
there's
shakes.
Vega.
Vega protein? Oh yeah. Dr. Delgado's Slim Blend. Best protein on the market. I challenge anybody to find a better
I
protein.
like the protein later.
It's sprouted rice proteins, or not pea protein, rice protein, hemp protein, and it's this awesome mix, and it's got, servings of fruits and vegetables in it. It's got a probiotic blend. It's all vegan.
So we've concluded that a plant-based diet is really where we want to go in terms of healing cancer. A plant-based diet
For sure.
is where we want to go, and everyone here is either going towards it and figuring out how to get there.
I'm pretty happy with my diet, which is a Mediterranean diet, which is olive oil, vegetables, fish. I mean, I think if you try to eat like the way you said, I couldn't do it.
Well, you haven't had my cooking.
Well,
I have 10 clients that said that same thing. I'm like, let me cook for you for a week. All of them. I could do vegan. Just saying.
I like fish. I mean, I'm not gonna give up.
And so there's a Mediterranean diet, which is the olives, olive oil, salad,
Right,
fish.
right.
That's the diet that I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Siri,
for
wait.
a lot of years, Mediterranean people have on the age category go way out. Like,
And would you like to guess my age?
Would I like to guess?
No, I mean, I'll tell you my age.
Oh,
But we have no clues.
Oh.
I am 68.
68. And still modeling.
And still, I'm a playmate from Playboy.
You model for Playboy now, or
I still model.
I love that.
Yeah, I was a playmate and I still did shoots.
For Playboy.
So a lot of.
Love it.
Love it.
This October 1967, I was 18 when I did Playboy. I still am on their website, I still get autographs, I still sign.
and I married one.
So,
Playmates, fantastic.
yeah.
Sorry, personnel.
World-class athlete for a long time.
Wait.
Focus up on sorry. Focus up on sorry.
How old am I?
Oh, there's one question here, and then we'll get
Lucky lady like
Yvonne?
this doesn't think it's 40.
We have one question, and then we'll get to you.
Cook for me anytime.
Sorry?
Just in regards back to cancer.
Back to what?
Back to the topic of cancer.
Yes.
I know when you were, healing and going through that, you weren't 100% plant at the time, right?
I was not.
Were you 100% plant-based diet
not.
at the time when you were going through the mindfulness practice of curing yourself of cancer?
Well, no, I was not completely plant-based then, but the second time around, I was gluten-free and restricted on 9 different things, like vinegar, chocolate. That was hard.
So it's an anti-candida diet.
Yeah. Avocado, a bunch of different things. Vinegar I can avoid forever. I'm not crazy about it. But there was one more don't that I wanted to bring out while we're still on this subject, and that is don't have artificially sweetened soft drinks. And well, perhaps not everybody knows this factor, that the sweeteners in artificial sweetened drinks and whatever, like if you put it in your tea or your coffee, those things signal the brain that sugar is coming, and it never gets there.
Not in my case.
No, the sugar,
It gets there.
So
no, there's no sugar to get there.
So it signals the brain that sugar's coming, but it's not coming.
It's
because
not
an
coming.
artificial sweetener.
Right. So you want more. So you drink another Diet Coke, let's say.
So how about like stevia? Like I use stevia and ice.
Stevia, some people say stevia is okay. I haven't done a thorough enough research on stevia to give you a educated or even a guess, but perhaps Emmanuel has something.
Are you okay with stevia or not?
Why? Why?
Yeah, so, I mean, from my philosophy,
Uh,
right? So from my
Right
philosophy.
here in the mic.
Yeah, we
People
go.
need to hear this.
Okay,
I
so,
want. Is this being recorded?
So, from my philosophy, right, when we talk about healthy in this city, it can mean something different from everybody. Where I lay the basis as is that we're eating what is biologically suited to our physiology, right? So we're eating what we're biologically suited to. And when we look at whether we are carnivores, omnivores, herbivores, or frugivores, what you figure out is that we're frugivores, right in the same family as apes and chimpanzees and those sorts of people. And their primary diet, they are biologically suited to eating fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, herbs, and spices, right? So what happens is that at a very root level of it all, what we put into our bodies is either going to do one or two things. Either it's going to alkalize and therefore regenerate our cells, or it's going to acidify or form acid and therefore in some way, shape, or form have a deteriorating effect on our cells or our tissues or those sorts of things. So from that philosophy, that root philosophy, it helps us to process everything else. So the question really is stevia helping our cells or not helping our cells? Is it alkalizing or is it acid forming? And what we figure out is it's not alkalizing, right? And I created an educational curriculum system to really help people with this, to think about these sorts of things. So from my philosophy, that's why I'd say no to it. Because it's.
So who found that it wasn't alkalizing?
What'd you say now?
Who found that it wasn't alkalizing?
Yeah, so it is, like we said, it is a very controversial topic, right? It's a very controversial topic. So we have to, in that case, we have to ask questions, right? We have to do, for instance, right? We ask a question like a historical time test, right? That would say, how long has stevia been here? If it's only been here 100 or 200 years, Was it made in a laboratory? Was it grown under the sun? These are questions that we ask. Because if it just came on the planet within 100 and 200 years, and we've been eating coconuts for 5,000, oranges for 5,000, mangoes for 5,000, right? It's something that we probably created. And if we created it, particularly in a laboratory using chemicals, that is not natural to our. There we go.
What about beans? What about?
Yeah, so there's a book called the Acid Alkaline Food Guide, something like that, right? And beans is one of those foods that is slightly acidic, right? It's slightly acidic. So you'll find. Right. No, that's a what is it called? That's a golly, no. I'm forgetting the vocabulary medical word for it. But when it goes into your body, it's acidic, but then it converts into being alkaline. Gosh. Yeah, I'm losing the term right now, but yeah.
What about beans?
Like I said, this food guide, the acid alkaline food guide, was done by a medical anthropologist where he examines hundreds of foods.
But they say that
Yeah.
cancer can't survive in an alkaline environment.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's right. That's right.
Stevia is a green plant.
Yeah, but it's a concentrate from a green plant. It's
Fine, but you can also dry the green plant, powder it, and use that as a sweetener.
Yeah, well, chewing on a coca leaf is probably not going to do anything bad to you, but if you concentrate it. I know, you're so good, man.
I'm used to it.
Okay, so we're gonna do the walking exercise.
I
because
think
we're gonna
we're-
finish the practice daily meditation.
I think we're going to take, let's take a 10-minute bio break.
Okay, we're taking a 10-minute bio break. We're gonna put you on hold. Thank you.